Hey, what's up everybody? This is Always Before You, and I want to give you a few of my thoughts on these two sleeping bags. The green one is the Marmot Hydrogen, which is rated as a 30-degree bag, and the red one is a Western Mountaineering Summerlite, which is rated as a 32-degree bag. You can go online for all the specs, but the purpose of this video is basically I want to talk to you about a little bit of an issue I've had, and you may have this too. I haven't been getting the best night's sleep in my Summerlite. That's a bag I've had since the beginning of the year. And I want to show you my observations on these two bags. I recently picked up the Hydrogen as an experiment to see if the little bit of additional size in an otherwise similar bag, similar fill, similar weight, etc., if that little bit of size would help, because I've been waking up a lot, and you know, when you're on trail and you're banging out the miles, tough terrain, you got to feel well rested. You have to feel as best you can rejuvenated the following day. And I wasn't getting that. I was waking up, 3, 4, 5, 6 times in the night, and I wasn't sure why. And I'm not even sure that this is solely the reason, but I want to tackle it, because I know in the past when I've been camping, car camping, and had a big mattress and another big flannel bags in the past, I was out. And so I think there's only so many variables. I've slept in cold, hot weather, all that other stuff, and I'm telling you because I think the idea is someone watching this, if you're having an issue with either sleeping, if you feel maybe confined or constricted in your current bag, if either one of these two bags is kind of on your short list of maybe one to buy, this might be some of a video that's worthwhile to you. So what I want to show you first is the two bags side by side, because dimensionally online the manufacturers are going to give you the different specs. Summerlite is known to be a narrow cut bag, and you can kind of see that if you see the Hydrogen, it's a mummy bag, but you see how it's more straight going down here, whereas there's really a pronounced cut here on those two sides, and the Summerlite tapers in. So that's going to be your hip dimension. I want to say, I forget the exact number, but I want to say between these two, it's a difference of the hip is the biggest difference actually. I want to say the hip is maybe a 4-inch difference. The foot box on the Summerlite, I want to say is either 38 or 39, and on the Marmot is like an inch or two more. Maybe 39 or 40. Shoulders. The Summerlite, I'm almost positive it's 59 inches from side to side. And on the Hydrogen is 61 maybe. I should have all my numbers in front of me. I'm sorry, I don't really remember. But everything is either a little bit bigger or a little bit more narrow, however you want to see it, between these two bags. Now I've got these bags lined up pretty much end to end, spot on. Right? They're pretty much even there. Maybe this is a little bit, it's right there. What I want to show you here, and this is something that I think is really important, because when you look online, manufacturers are always going to give you the shoulder width of the bag, so from side to side. They're going to give you the hip, that dimension, and they're going to give you the foot box, that dimension. What they don't tell you is the length in inches. They do it more generally. They'll say a short, a regular, and a long. And they'll say for people up to a certain size. So short might be people up to 5'6". Long might be people up to 6'6". Regular is usually people up to 6 foot. This is for men's bags. Now here's the interesting point, and what I found is, having used both of these makes the biggest difference. It's immediately perceivable, and it just makes them feel totally different in practice. The length. Now I got a ruler out here just to try to visually help you as a visual aid. These are both rated at regulars, which means they're good for people up to 6 foot. And you can see here the difference in the hood design. Okay, so you see here with the Western, from where the drawstring is here to the top, how much material there is. How much physical kind of hood overlap you have. And my thumb is roughly an inch. So it's like 1, 2, 2.5, something like that. in addition to the fact that when you compare them to two, that there just simply isn't as much material. So this one, the hood is going all the way here. This one, it's going there. And you see that difference here of how much overlap there is. You know, it's like 1, 2, 3, it's like 4, roughly 4 inches. This is probably more actually, this is a loose estimate. But if you see that difference, and these are both rated as regular bags, that difference in length, to me, they couldn't feel any more different. When you get inside of them, the width is part of it. It does feel like a roomier bag side to side, but that's not what I notice most. What I notice most is the feeling of a longer bag. And for me, I mean, I'm 6 foot even, 6 foot flat, and dimensions are important. So my body weight, I'm about 160 pounds now, maybe 161, 162. That's important to note also, because all this is contingent upon your particulars, your height and weight. But I want to call that to your attention here, because immediately when you get into the hydrogen and that little bit of a longer cut, that little bit of a different hood, it may not look like much, but I guess, like I was saying before, if you have a Summerlite and it feels tight, if you're trying one on in the store, or the inverse, maybe you have a hydrogen and you like it, but you're looking to save a few ounces and you feel maybe like you're swimming in the hydrogen. Maybe you're very lean, or maybe you're, you know, 5'11", 5'10", and you just feel like you have so much excess and you want to go down a little bit. That's what I'm trying to illustrate here in this video, is just the difference in height. It, like I said, doesn't look like much, but when you slip into that bag, it feels so different. It's immediately noticeable. I got the Neo Air X-Lite here just as kind of a reference for size. You know, Neo Airs are 20 by 72. This is a regular size Neo Air, so you can get a feel for how they stack up against that. You know, they're made to be used, or not that they're made to be, but you know, they're all work in conjunction with each other. And the last thing I'd like to show you here is just, I have another video on the Summerlite, and I'll just show it again, or anyone who hasn't seen that, if you're interested in this bag, is some of the intricacies of it. One thing I'll notice about the Summerlite, you see that foot box, and you see how lofty it is? That's something that's definitely they have going over the Marmot. You can see there's really no comparison there in the foot box. There's a lot more down in the Western. It's weird how much it pops up there almost. It's like I don't have anything in there. That's just kind of how it is. Aside from that, they do rate them at 4 inches of loft. Now, I'll just mention that both of these bags have continuous baffles. And Western tested as a feature. Marmot, I don't think it was on their site. I called Marmot to find out. I wanted to know if I could. Continuous baffles is to have the ability to shift the down from the bottom of the bag, where your back would be, and kind of push it around and on top. So these are continuous. This baffle here, so say like one of these things, it wraps all the way from the top around the side to the bottom. And what you can do is, if it's really hot, you can kind of even it out and have, you know, push down, you know, over the side, and then kind of lift up the bag and shake it, and you could bring that down to your back side where it's going to get compressed, and you know, it's not going to make you feel as hot. On the flip side, if it's very, very cold, you can take, and what I've done here in both these bags, there is no down, essentially none, on the bottom side of these bags. It's almost like, if you're familiar with Big Agnes, how the back side is just one thin layer of material, there's no insulation. That's what I've done on both these bags, to try to show you as accurately as I can the loft. I guess it wouldn't matter if it was, you know, half on top, half on bottom, but I just put it all to the top, and just do a couple side shots here. So here's the Marmot. Now the Marmot might not look as puffy or as impressive as the Western, The Western, I think I got some of the down bunched up on these corners here, on these ends, so that's kind of disproportionately making it look taller than it is. If you put them side by side. I gotta tell you though, they are for all intents and purposes the same. If I wring them out, if I fluff them up, you know, if I move things around, they are, I think they're rated at about 4 inches total loft, or single-sided, about 2 inches per side of each baffle. And they really are. The Western might look a little puffier here, but I used this one most recently. I had it in a compression sack earlier today, so when I first got this one was lofting ridiculously. I think it's just because it was compressed not that long ago. But they are very similar in that regard. And I guess that's pretty much it. Yeah, just a comparison of these two bags. I guess the real, the model that Western makes that would most be like this would be a Megalite, which is a Summerlite, but with a wider cut. And I think they dropped the rating, the degrees, by a degree or two as well. It's a little bit of a warmer bag, whereas this is a 32. I believe the Megalite is a 30, which is what the Marmot is rated at. So there's these two bags, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'm gonna most likely be selling the Summerlite. I'm going to be selling that on some backpacking forums if anyone's interested. I'm still coming to my final decision. I'm really reluctant to add the weight, and I should mention that as well. The difference in weight as measured on a scale. They say one thing on the site, but each of these bags in their respective stuff sacks, there's a difference of 4.5 ounces, with the Marmot being 4.5 heavier. I think the Marmot is rated at 1.8 and change ounces. We'll say 1.9 on their site. And the Summerlite is rated at 1.3, so that would be a difference of 6 ounces. Whatever it is, when I put each one into the respective stuff sacks and I measure them, I have a difference of 4.5 ounces. So I'm not into grams, and I usually don't, I'm not shaving ounces, but a difference of 4 ounces is another way to say a quarter pound. And when you are trying to kind of get it light, that is something to think about. What do you get for your 4 ounces? What do you get for your quarter pounds? Well, you definitely get a wider bag. You definitely get a longer bag. Is that a good thing for you? Again, a lot of that boils down to your body shape and size. If you're but if you're a shorter person or a much skinnier person, you're not going to want that extra air to warm up. You're going to want the thermal efficiency of having a narrower bag, of having less air to warm up. And if you're a very skinny person, a Summerlite might feel to you like the Hydrogen feels to me. You really have to try to get into these things. The YouTube video can only help you so much, but I want to say what I can. I guess there's going to be a lot of places where you can't get into each of these side by side. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Just some thoughts on these two bags. They are both excellent. There are the differences which you should know. And if you take one thing away from this video is, if you have any experience with the Hydrogen, the Summer, whatever, the Hydrogen, that little bit, this I really want to stress. This is kind of like my main point, which is what's going to really making me say the heck with the 4 ounces, it's worth it, is that little bit of difference in height there feels so much more than what you just see here in the ruler. In practice, in the bag, it feels like a totally different bag than this one. In the height dimension, that difference in height is something that you really got to kind of try it on to understand what I'm saying. But I just want to stress that to you. If you are at all in a bag where you feel like length is an issue, take a look at the Marmots. Not only the Hydrogen, but Marmot is known, as I've read, to be a little bit extra generous in their cut. So a 6 foot from them tends to be, or a regular bag tends to be, a little bit longer than some of the competitors. So that's pretty much it. And if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. Thanks. Okay, so now let's take a look at the weight of the two bags. First up, let's take a look at the hydrogen. So the hydrogen is in a, they provide you an extra small stuff sack, and from what I read, this is a sil nylon sack. I forget the exact weight, I think it's like 7/10 of an ounce. But the two sacks for the Western and the hydrogen, roughly the same. I think this one comes in at like an ounce even, this is 7/10. I mean, personally, myself, I don't get into grams. I know a lot of people do, but you know, I round that stuff. So anyway, let's take a look at the weight. Okay, let's put the hydrogen on first. Okay. So with the hydrogen, you're looking at, like I said, I'm not doing grams. To me, I'm just going to call that 26 ounces. Okay. And for the Western Mountaineering, for the Summerlite, you're looking at about, I'm going to call that just 21.5. Alright, and there's the that bag, it's an extra small. So say 21.5. So you're basically looking at 26 versus 21.5. That's a difference of 4.5 ounces. So I guess what you have to, you know, ask yourself, and it can go, like I was saying before, either way. If you currently have a Summerlite and it's just a little bit too tight, you feel constricted, maybe you're not getting a great night's sleep, you know, are you willing to shell out 4.5 ounces to get the additional space? On the flip side, someone who may already have a hydrogen, who's trying to eke out every last ounce and maybe break some thresholds or barriers with their weight, I would strongly suggest, particularly going from the larger to the smaller bag, because there isn't a big difference, but I think going smaller is just going to feel more appreciable. You're going to, something about having less space than a little bit more. I would strongly suggest, if you can, and I know it's not easy in a lot of places, to try the Summerlite, get inside of it, and make sure that those 4.5 ounces that you're saving, that they're not going to give you a claustrophobic or an uncomfortable night's sleep. So, so these are the two bags, and I think that's pretty much it. So if you have any questions about these, just throw it down in the comments. Okay, thanks.